Welcome everyone to FLIPSIDE Crypto. Joining me today is Nimrod Al-Havi from Simplex. Simplex is a project you might not have heard of, but believe me, it's one you will definitely learn to love. Welcome, Nimrod.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Now, Nimrod, could you tell me just a bit about Simplex? What do you do? What is your mission?
Absolutely. So Simplex, we started the company in 2013, 2014. We enable exchanges, brokers, wallets, what have you, to be able to accept credit card payments for users buying crypto with zero chargeback guarantee. And we are currently working with a few hundreds of exchanges, brokers, and wallets. So most likely, if you've purchased crypto using your credit cards, it has been done through us.
Wow. So essentially, you are like the backbone for a crypto exchange.
Yeah, you could say that. Mostly the on-ramps. Recently, we started providing off-ramps as well. You're able to open a bank account with us through which you're able to deposit funds and make larger crypto purchases, and also you're able to sell the crypto and receive fiat in that bank.
Oh, so in essence, you are like the iOS, the running banking system, and they're relying upon you. It's a sweet business model, I have to say. But you must have so many competitors, so many people wanting to have some piece of that pie, essentially. And how do you do it? What is the Simplex way?
So I would say that the most important thing is not to provide only a very slim part of the pie. So we started with credit card processing for sure, zero chargeback guarantee baked into that. So there's no risk for the merchant accepting the credit card, which is a big deal. And we're doing it all in-house. So it's not a subsidiary service that might vanish one day. And on top of that, we started building additional services that enables us to serve a very large variety of clientele. So if you don't want to sell your own liquidity, we can assist with the liquidity. If you don't have a bank account, we can pay you in crypto. If you want to do your own KYC, we can take your KYC. If you don't want to do it, we can take care of that as well. Now we're able to open a bank account either for you as the company or you as the individual. We've recently became a principal member of the Visa network, so we're able to issue debit cards for our partners, users as well. So over time, building more and more services. I think with regard to your question about competition, I think that there are different companies competing in different slices of the business itself. So nobody's competing with us as a whole, but there's a company or a couple of companies competing with us in the credit card business, a couple of companies competing in the card issuing. Some companies are competing on the banking side of things, but we're the only ones providing the full suite of services, and we're the ones, we're the first movers in the market. So definitely was the harder to build the whole thing, but we definitely have we're a household name, so to speak, in the crypto industry.
Yeah. Definitely in the crypto industry, I've talked with several experts and they seem to love you guys. They seem to say you're the gold standard. But the problem is, I kind of want to demystify you for the regular user. So for example, when they say, oh, they're using Simplex, that they could actually have a feeling of reliability, for example. So when someone is onboarded into Simplex, using your services, what is your key ethos? So basically, what is the key message to your buyer, essentially, of Simplex service? Will you be the most secure? Will you be the fastest? Is it a mixture of both? Or is it something as simple as coded in your name? Simplex, simplicity.
So yeah, the tagline was, it used to be complex, now it's Simplex. We try to make it as simple as possible for the user, and for that there's a lot of heavy lifting done on the background. So we're trying to change the scale so the user has to do as little as possible and as frictionless experience as possible it does mean that we need to juggle quite a lot in order to provide that to the user. But I think that's, I think that at the end of the day, everybody's trying to do that. I just rode a Tesla today. It's such a smooth experience because there's so much going on in the background. So I think that's something that everybody should strive to.
Yeah, and actually, the crypto industry in of itself, it's so young, it's so immature in some ways, and in other ways it's idealistic. And as I've heard from some other CEOs, it's quite custom approach. It's constantly custom. So what is your approach to the ever-changing demands? Are you trying to make the standard, or are you trying to make yourself just accustomed to rapid change?
It depends on the feature itself, I would say. On some things, for example, regulatory requirements, you have to set a standard. You can't really decide what you want and what you don't want. In some cases, you have to copy what exists in other verticals and non-crypto verticals. But whatever is, generally speaking, unique to the crypto ecosystem, which we had to define ourselves a lot of, you have more wiggling room to show flexibility and create good enough standards for the industry to follow.
And actually, this is something I really wanted to ask you while preparing for this interview. Essentially, the market itself, since you are an OG, if I can call you that, you've been around for so long, you are self-described hacker, serial entrepreneur. You see this market, it's in maturity, and what could you say about the current market, where we are, what we're doing wrong, and where we could go as a community, as a market in general?
I think it's already a big enough community that you can't really say what's missing in it, because there's everything. I think the biggest barrier to grow 10x is growth itself. It's adoption. Mainstream adoption comes in waves. The industry is moving in waves. Every wave is bigger, stronger, shorter periods go on between waves. I've seen quite a few of them. I think that even the entire, or most of the ecosystem, maybe the noobs less so, but whoever's been in previous cycles knows how it goes. Not really worried, understand that now it's a bear cycle, so okay, you need to keep your head next to the keyboard, do the work, and you'll get rewarded in the next bull cycle. So it's something that's coming, that's going. I don't think anything is missing. I think we're on track. Because with usability, with the greater adoption, there will be more adoption by governments, by regulators, which today I think are the bigger barriers. But that comes with usage. I mean, there are more users, so DeFi, for example, is being exposed to the regulator more and more. And I just saw a PR from yesterday that JP Morgan is filing for a DeFi ETF, which I think is a huge move. Something that prominent, so much in the forefront of some of the regular industry. I think it's amazing. Definitely on the right track.
So although we are on the right track in terms of adoption, but is this the right type of adoption? So at the beginning, it was kind of a grassroots, attack against the status quo. And now it's kind of a dance to work together with the regulators. It kind of changed its tone a bit. As more money entered in, the enthusiasts have, subsided a bit, and now it's the realists, like Simplex. You're realistic. You're actually...
I would say it makes sense, as a regular bell curve. The early adapters, I mean, I still think that we're in the early adapters phase. But, you have to kind of make it more accessible for more early adapters, make it easier for regulators to understand and to swallow, in the sense that you need to kind of ramp up for the ecosystem to be able to grow properly, 10x, 100x. You have to kind of come to terms with the regulators and the bigger institutions as well. I think we passed the phase of disruptors, at least for the the thick layer of the middle of crypto. A lot of room for disruption anywhere else.
Yeah. And in your opinion, we are right now on the cusp of this mass adoption phase. So we are past the...
I think it's still going to take a lot of time. I try not to make such predictions, especially since a decade ago I said, in a decade it's going to be mainstream, and it's so far from mainstream. So, I'd rather not make the prediction, but it's still going to take like another decade or maybe even two to reach mainstream.
But actually, you were right when you made that prediction, because everyone at least knows Bitcoin. You know,
I think that, now we're talking about like 150 million users of crypto. It's nothing. I mean, there are 8-9 billion people. It's nothing. It's barely, your toe tipping in the water.
I see. So a lot of exciting things to come.
Absolutely, I love it. I love the fact that it's an industry where we're continuously testing the boundaries, innovating, inventing. I love it.
Yeah, but I have to be the bad policeman, so to speak, the bad cop, because the industry is plagued by bad actors, actually, and they are ruining a bit for the projects who are doing a proper job. So, for example, their compliance standards are not being met, scams are rampant, and how do you view this? Is this just a growing pains, or will this continue on? Is it something inherent to the crypto space?
I don't think it's inherent to the crypto space. I think it's inherent for humanity. Every group, every society has the bad actors, and it's part of evolution. Like, if you have a kid in the kindergarten, doesn't get along with all the kids in the kindergarten. That's just
Gotcha.
And if someone is not abiding by the rules, he has to take a time off. Whatever it's called in kindergarten. So maybe an exchange not abiding by KYC and AML regulation needs to take a timeout.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm only asking because this senator from a bit of a red state said that maybe crypto is enabling cybercrimes, ransomware attacks, etc. And it makes you scratch your head and think, what are you saying? Money is used to do ransomware attacks. Are you gonna?
The $100 bill is way better for money laundering than any cryptocurrency.
Now that's a scoop. Now that's a story.
It's not my invention. I mean, FinCEN representative said it in 2013.
Yeah.
Like the $100 bill is still better than Bitcoin for money laundering.
Yeah, completely agree. And actually, just wanted to get people a chance to know Simplex a bit more. So essentially, the way you differentiate yourselves, at least in your rhetoric, is through your drive for simplicity. You're trying to make everything as simple as possible. How do you rationalize simplicity when you have so many different parties using the platform? So you have the very crypto savvy and technology savvy people. You have the, let's just say, basic user. And that basic user also has segments of their own. So how do you manage all of these needs and make it simpler? So what's your logic behind making something simple? That's what I'm getting at.
I would say trial and error, usually. If we understand that we miss something or we get a lot of user feedback, so it's constant feedback from users, because we're mostly working with retail clients of our partners. They know how to communicate their disagreement with whatever process. They know how to complain. We get this constant feedback both from the partners and from their clients. So we're able to add features, change features, move features all the time.
Nice. So essentially, this feedback loop allows you to quickly adjust, and you're not just creating like a perfect person. You're just letting real life data speak for itself.
Always.
Nice. So it's a very wise approach to business, but I do have to ask, and it's the flip side time. And what is Simplex's weakness?
Well, I would say two things. One of them is that, as we grow and as we grew over the years, we're not usually as fast as we could have been in this loop. And the second one is, I would say that we always play by the rules. So some of the competition which completely don't play by the rules, sometimes manage to gain the upper hand by bad actions, things that I don't find as legitimate business procedures. Sometimes illegal, sometimes just kind of a gray area, but we prefer to stay 100% clean and not do anything like that. Maintain our reputation. But yeah, so all in all, the one thing I would improve is act faster, but I'm guessing that's everyone who has one hand in software wants to do everything faster.
Absolutely. So in essence, for you, it's about being faster and also having the, let's just say, regulators happy, in essence.
Satisfied. I wouldn't say happy, but satisfied.
Happy but satisfied. That's another good one. But the question is, which regulators though? Because you operate around the globe, right?
Yeah, true. We are regulated in Europe as a e-money license. We're extending it into a bank license, but I think at the end of the day, the regulators, they're not in 100% agreement, but the European regulator is not someone who's very light on the regulation. It's not like Cyprus or Malta, or we're licensed in Lithuania. They have a reasonable, pragmatic approach. They don't act too lightly on important topics, but they're not overly heavy. You're able to communicate with them, to speak with them.
But in essence, just for the viewers at home, can we just say that, and this is just, you may deny this with your whole heart, but right now we are at that stage where the conversation with the regulators is one of the biggest challenges a good CEO faces, and communicating how crypto is different or could enhance the traditional market is one of the most important things at this point, at least.
I think that in the crypto to fiat, or at least anything that has to do with fiat, is the regulation in general is a very big discussion. Some companies are handling different kind of businesses that has nothing to do with the regulator, so they don't care. Either if it's 100% crypto and completely detached, or completely decentralized, or completely anonymized, and then they don't care. This section of the crypto ecosystem, which involves fiat on-ramps and off-ramps, that's definitely a very big discussion constantly. And where is it going, and how will it change, and how will it affect, and what would be the classification of even DeFi. I don't think that any regulator believes that they can actually follow DeFi fast enough and issue regulation fast enough. It's just impossible.
And actually, if they even tried, knowing the DeFi space, what kind of quick people work there, they would simply, think outside the box too quickly. And basically, you thought of the other way. Simplex is going with the regulators, with the status. It's not. I'm trying not to put you in the box. You're kind of working outside the box, because what you're doing is innovative, but at the exact same time, you are working together with the current system, so that...
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. I think that for the crypto outsiders and big thinkers and rebels, for it to properly work, you have to have this kind of building blocks connecting with the real world. Otherwise, it will, forever remain a completely detached ecosystem, which we don't want to have. We want it connected. We want it replacing the old system at some point, but it needs to be, baby steps.
Baby steps it is, and hopefully we'll have many more conversations over the months and years to basically see what the crypto space can become. And thank you. This was Nimrod Elhavi from Simplex, and everyone at home, Do write in the comments what you would like to learn about Simplex. We shall definitely ask it in the next interview. Thank you, Nimrod.